What's up, guys? Today we've got a special guest, Parisa Jankovic. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
There's two transformations that we'll be getting into today. One has been the incredible physique transformation that you've achieved lately, and the other one is all the under the bonnet health benefits that we get from such a physique that come naturally.
Yep.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Hey! Hey, tell us a bit about your story. Why did you decide to go on this like transformation journey, or why did you decide to do this latest shred, which has helped you level up?
Yeah. So I think for me, and I think we've had this discussion before, I felt like I was in comfort mode for a really long time, and I was kind of doing whatever I was always doing. I wasn't feeling like anything was elevating in that way. And I just wanted to sort of take it up a notch. I had to prove a point to you, and I had to prove a point to myself, because you sort of were skeptical that I wasn't ready. I don't know if you want that on there, but I'm going to put it on. And I needed to prove to myself that the things that I always feared, like, oh, I can't stick to a calorie deficit, and I can't do all these things. I'm never going to have that particular physique that I want. I don't think I'm that person. I don't think I'm cut out for that. So going into it was a little bit of a journey of, let's just prove that I can do something that I thought I couldn't do. That was the main motive to start. Yeah.
To set the record straight, I've always believed in you, and I always knew that you could hit that next level. But when I said, I don't think you're ready for the shred, well, it's because I detected that you were stuck in that comfort mode, and I wanted you to like stay in comfort mode before we hit AMG and leveled up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I wanted to time it. So we timed the shred like after Christmas, after New Year's, right? So we could enjoy the holidays, and then we started like January, which was just our little thing.
To be honest, I think I would have cruised along in comfort mode for years and years and years. So it actually ended up being a good thing that I wasn't ready, I wasn't prepared, I didn't think about it for a long time to just put it into sport and just go, let's just do it. I think I needed it like that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So that probably was beneficial.
When this comfort mode that we're talking about, I think it helped us gain skills. It helped us learn how to master the dumbbell, the barbell, technique on squats, deadlifts, etc., etc. So I think there was lots of good fundamentals that we built in comfort mode, whilst we weren't worrying about lifting in a deficit, right? Because lifting in a deficit
is a whole other thing.
So many other challenges, so many other things that we experience. So I think it would have been not as effective if we tried to like cut straight away, which is what we're referring to as comfort. Like we're really referring to as comfort as just getting to the gym.
Yeah, doing what you need to do.
Doing what you need to do.
Not thinking too much about nutrition.
Yeah, which...
Go for a little walk with the dog every now and then. And that's enough. That'll do.
Yeah,
that's
look,
fine.
and for a lot of people, like them hitting that comfort mode is like, that is the transformation. Like a lot of people listening to this will be like, what do you mean? That's...
And I think that's why it's important where you are on your journey, and it's so subjective to the person. And I'd already been cruising along for quite a while. Whereas if I was a beginner, and I was a beginner at some point, that wouldn't be the right headspace for me, because I just wasn't there. Just getting to the gym, learning technique, understanding what's involved with training and strength training, that's probably what my priority was at that time. But then after a few years, your priorities change. Maybe your aesthetic, your vision of your aesthetic has evolved over time. What you want to achieve out of your training evolves over time, I think, for everyone. So, yeah.
I mean, there's so many different ways we can get it from here. But tell me about your why. Like, what was the thing? What was the thing other than your coach saying you're not ready? What was the thing that like...
I love it when someone tells me you're not ready. Oh, I needed that so bad. I was like, you know what? You just did me such a big fucking favor. Thank you. I needed this. Every time I doubted myself, I was like, you're not ready. Svet said you're not ready. And I know that's not what you meant, but that's how I took it. And I needed that fuel for the fire. So the why was the same sort of thing, about elevating, about going, what can I do to tweak my mindset, to sharpen the skills. I do feel like I was getting a little bit, I guess, stagnant and bored in where I was. So I felt as though, do I just stop training or do I just go AMG? Lucky I didn't do the other one. I did the AMG. But yeah, that was the why. I think initially when I started as well, and the reason why I haven't done this before, and something that I think is important, because a lot of people would be feeling like this, is that you do think you have to be super precise when it comes to fat loss. And I think in order to achieve a certain physique, yes, you do. If you want the six pack, if you want this percent and this and that, I didn't have any body fat pinch tests and whatever, only because for me, I wasn't at that level where I wanted to be so precise. I wanted the fat loss, I wanted to maintain muscle that I had worked hard to achieve. So I felt as though I'm somewhere in the middle where I'm going to get what I want without being super crazy with it, and it still resulted in what I wanted. Could it have been better? Yes.
Yeah.
But was this a process I enjoyed? Yes.
Yes.
Because it was sustainable for me.
Yeah. It was a lot more enjoyable for you. It was sustainable.
Yeah.
And I feel like we got it without too much suffering, without too much sacrifice. And I'm confident that you'll be able to hold it for a long time. You'll be able to enjoy it and not have to worry about gaining kilos.
I'm not doing crazy. Exactly, totally. And that's the thing. A lot of people do go aggressive and lose a lot of weight, and then what will happen is obviously it's hard to maintain that level of discipline.
Yeah.
And then you go back to where you were.
Yeah. It's good to hear that from you as a person that's successfully done it, and you did it without having to weigh your chicken and broccoli, without having to go on some extreme diets, or you did it with not having to go zero carb or zero this, zero that.
And I definitely did utilize foods I love in the right way as opposed to fearing them. So it wasn't like I can't have pasta because I'm going to get fat. It was I'm going to have this pasta. I'm going to make sure I prioritize protein in that pasta, and then I'm going to make sure I smash out a big leg session afterwards. So I fueled my workout with that thing that I love. It's not like, hey, let's eat this creamy pasta and sit on the couch and rot, for 8 hours, which is probably what the old me would have really loved.
You said one thing there, which is you had your pasta, but you prioritized the protein.
Yes.
Help me learn what you mean by that, so the audience
can
benefit
for sure.
from that.
So having a pasta, but then cutting up a whole steak in there. Or cutting up a whole chicken breast in there, and still having the creamy sauce and whatever it was that I wanted, the parmesan, the garlic, whatever it was that I wanted was still in there, but it was still, there was emphasis on the protein still. Yeah.
Brilliant. I love that. Were there any other cheeky foods that the audience might think is not possible to eat on a weight cut? Yeah. What were you having in terms of sweets?
I had a chocolate every single day because it's something that I genuinely love, and it's something I looked forward to with my tea at night, and it was something I was not willing to compromise, and I would have rather move more that day if I had to, do more physically, and have the chocolate and still go, this isn't that hard.
Yeah. My favorite thing about that is it goes against the old school mentality of like, oh, I'm doing a weight cut now. I must not eat chocolate for the next 3 months, right?
And actually people were so surprised that at events, at parties, I was still eating the cake. I was still doing everything like, aren't you on a fat loss thing? And I'm like, yeah, I actually am, but that's okay because I'm not going to do this 2-3 times in a row. I'm going to do it today, and then tomorrow we're going to be clean.
Yeah.
And I think it was just going, oh, hey, if you made a mistake, which there's no mistakes in my book, I know because I'm saying I wasn't super precise, those mistakes were not really mistakes. They were just, okay, this is a one-off thing, I'll correct it tomorrow. That's it. Not, I'll do it 3 times back to back. Yeah.
Your transformation has been insane in terms of how much muscle mass you've gained, but then your ability to shred the unnecessary fat on your frame, right? Tell me about your routine. Like Monday to Sunday, like in your 7 days, what's the breakdown of what you did exercise-wise? And when I say exercise-wise, tell me all the things that you did to achieve that fat loss.
So in that initial first 3 months, I would say I was a lot more aggressive with adding cardio than I am now, because I feel as though obviously I've got a little bit more muscle mass. I can do less and still burn. The original program was basically the same 3 weight sessions a week that I was doing. I think we were a little bit more, what's the word? Heavy? I don't know if we went more heavy, but it felt like we were a little bit more, not so much cruisy like we were before. We were saying, okay, you are going to start on week 1 at this weight, where I'd be like, no, that's not a deload, and you'd be like, yeah, that doesn't matter. We've got, goals to achieve. So the 3 well-designed, I always call it 3 well-designed weight sessions, because it's not 3 weight sessions where I'm going in just throwing little dumbbells around. They're 3 well-designed, formatted to what I was wanting to achieve, which was muscle retention and gain while losing fat. So yeah, the 3 weight sessions, and then the walking was an everyday thing for me. I walked quite a fair bit. At the beginning, I would say I was walking between 5 to 12 kilometers a day. I broke it up if I needed to do it on a lunch break, if I needed to do it before my morning started, if I needed to do it at night at 9 p.m. in the dark on a rainy night, I did it no matter what. I'm not so vigilant about that now.
First 3 months,
yes.
3 days of well-designed strength. So there was weekly targets. We were making sure that we're going the right weights, the right sets, right reps. And then you added cardio.
7 days.
The cardio was walking, and it was 7 days a week.
7 days
Damn.
a week. It was no
How
days
many
off.
minutes roughly were you doing per day?
1 to 2 hours of walking.
1 to 2 hours of walking.
Very light.
And I like what you're saying is like you microdosed it. So some of it was before work, some of it was at lunch, some of it was
20
after.
minutes
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I think you did exceptionally well is you were offsetting work, and you were offsetting sitting, and you were offsetting hours. Like it wasn't just, work, sitting at work, and then gym, right? Like there was, you essentially added steps.
Totally.
With your cardio that you added, how fast were you going?
Not very fast.
Yeah.
Some of my cardio was done at Indooroopilly Shopping Centre. Like shopping is my cardio, and I counted that as my cardio, and I don't think we need to judge people that do that. I did spend a lot of money, and that's all right. There were days where I did not want to go outside and walk. I'd had enough of doing it. Having that stimulation at a shopping centre just helped me, and that's fine, right?
Shopping is cardio, right?
Shopping is my cardio.
Shopping, same.
So how does my body know if I'm at Indooroopilly or if I'm out on the street? My body doesn't know the difference. So if those legs are moving, I think any object in motion stays in motion. Let's just keep it moving, and that's all I tried to do. Yeah.
Got it. I know there was another thing that you did really well. You invested in a not so expensive walking mat.
The cheapest, best thing.
Tell me what you bought and tell me what's the story with that.
Yeah, so I bought a walking pad, and it's just like, I would say 1.5 meters long. It's not the most amazing, powerful thing ever, but in terms of getting movement, it was perfect for me. I could have my phone, I could do emails, there was so much that I could do when the days that I was time poor, I could still get my steps up. So that was a $250 investment that ended up paying massive dividends. Yeah.
Helped you get your steps up if you couldn't go for a walk in outdoors or whatever.
Or sometimes you just get bored and you don't want to put on your, outfit and go out, and you just want to stay home and watch TV, or you want to get on your phone and watch TikTok or whatever it is. Having that flexibility and having that convenience there, it made it, I guess, less difficult to commit.
That's a really good breakdown of what you did training wise and energy out wise from strength to cardio and how you got it. Did you do any other changes with your food?
Yes.
Can you tell me a bit more about what you did from a food point of view?
I didn't track calories. Good. I didn't have an app for calories. I didn't
Good.
I really didn't know when a lot of people would ask, but how many calories exactly are you having? I actually didn't know, but my focus was on whole foods. My focus was on protein. So those two things, obviously there's a 10 to 20% of cake and chocolate and things that I needed them in order to have a glimmer of hope. But the main thing was, is this a real food, or is this just a synthetic something that's not going to benefit me? And is that siren?
That's the fat police.
Yeah. Dude, that's Coach Jack. He's like, what do you mean?
I know. This goes against everything he teaches. So I know that a lot of people will say that, but the calories in and the calories out, that's all that matters. It doesn't not matter what kind of food you eat. You could eat McDonald's and lose weight, and I get it. However, all of the other benefits that come along with having good nutrition. It's like you're not going to take an AMG to whatever fuel station and just go, yeah, throw whatever and let it in, right? You're going to go, I want the high octane, I want it to enhance performance, I want whatever's going to give me the absolute best result out of that engine, right? So that's how I was seeing it.
So whole foods most of the time, real foods, prioritizing protein.
Eggs, steak, chicken, not so much fruit, only because I'm just not a huge fruit person, but mainly veggies, so a lot of beans and potatoes every day, because they're my favorite and they're filling and they're delicious. Olive oil, cooked in butter, cooked in beef fat, cooked with whatever you like. Enjoy, you know. Just move that body later. And I felt incredible off that, and I think even with that change of just nutrition alone, I would have felt the difference with the brain fog, the energy. I wake up at 4 a.m. buzzing. I can't even wait to start my day. I'm like, is it day yet? Like, let's just go. We've got so much to do. We've got so much to achieve. And this is from someone who's like, oh, I don't want to do the 8 a.m. breakfast because that means I got to wake up at 7, and that might be, you know, too early on that day. And I always felt like this. I'd always feel anxious about an early start to anything. So for me to be like, I'm up at 4 a.m., what can I do to make this day more productive and more amazing, is just not typical for me.
Wow, that's huge. And it sounds like it was a mixture of you getting fitter, getting stronger, getting leaner, leveling up like fitness and physique wise, and at the same time leveling up nutrition wise. Perhaps it was both of those combined that's leading to you becoming a morning person and more energized in the morning.
And sleeping better as well. I think also there is some hormone regulation that comes with the proper nutrition and the strength training, and probably the cardio as well. All three marry well together. So I think that having that hormonal sort of regulation, and then also the cortisol lowering, I think the more muscle mass anyone can have, the better. I think it's anti-aging. I think it's
100%.
Energy producing. I think it's not talked about enough how much we need muscle, and especially as we grow older. And what speaks to me is collagen, because I am approaching my 40s, and as a female, collagen is like, you know, we want that. We need that. We're getting depleted as we get older. So having those, you know, steaks and the eggs and the chicken, those are all things that are going to create collagen along with muscle. So
good. Power to protein, more benefits of protein, right?
Yeah.
What did you change about 3, 2, 1? What did you change about the way that you think? Was there any mentality changes that you made?
Much.
All right, tell me the adjustments that you made.
I actually think for me, and I think for a lot of people, it's 80% the mechanics. Sorry, 80%. Oh, let's start again. Sorry, I fucking butchered that.
I'll leave my bit,
but
you
okay, is it just me now?
Yeah,
okay.
Go.
I would say for me and a lot of people, it was 80% psychology and 20% mechanics. And I don't think we talk about enough how much that emotional endurance is so important when you are doing anything new or different that's out of your comfort zone. So whether it's fat loss or strength, whatever it is, the emotional component of it is so huge that if you can endure that emotional up, down, side to side, really the mechanics takes care of itself a lot of the time. It's so marginal, really.
A word that we like to use during your weight cut and my weight cut is like suffering and sacrifice. And we would say it jokingly to each other, but really in a way that's what we were doing.
Not just suffering, learning to love the suffer and actually going, you know what? This is like romanticizing the process, and so much more so that you finish the finish line's just burnt. It's just not even relevant, right? So you're going, yes, this is where I want to end up. This is the finish line, but all of this process is so fun, and you really romanticize every little thing. Like, I love my daily walk, or, you know, what a privilege it is to eat like this. What a privilege it is that I get to go outside and go on this walk, that I have legs that work, that I have a body that can do this. And that part of it, that was what shocked me the most in how I felt about everything. Going, okay, yes, you can look at the end result and go, yeah, okay, that's great. But it's who you become in the process, as cliche as it sounds, and all of the things that you learn about yourself over time.
That's a real
suffering,
win.
and you love the suffering.
Yeah.
Suffering is good. We all should suffer more.
I agree. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Help me learn like the adjustments that you made in your mentality, because from a coaching point of view, I saw my athlete go from comfort mode to like you showing up to the gym, you know, averaging 2 sessions a week, sometimes 3.
Adding maybe an extra.
And then I saw you, you know, like thriving in the gym. Then I saw you thriving outside of the gym. Then I saw you leveling up with like, you know, the mentality side of things. So what I want to learn from you, or what I want to document with your transformation is like, what's the changes that you made? Like I don't want to just put a blanket over it and go, yeah, it was just more suffering and more sacrifice. I want to try and flush out like, what was that?
Probably comes back to that whole pressure is a privilege kind of mentality of, we actually are so lucky to be able to go, oh, I suffered because I wanted to. I didn't eat because it was a choice, or I moved because it was a choice, not because it was something I had to do. It just sort of, it just takes it up that little bit. I've never been one to want to suffer in any way, as you know. I'm like, you know what, I'll do whatever I want, whenever I want, and I'll do whatever amount of, you know, movement I want, and that'll do. So I think, elevating mindset.
It's almost like flicking a switch from victim mentality, poor me, I'm carrying too much fat and it's hard to lose this fat, and whatever I do I don't get the desired physique, versus no, I'm in a privileged position and I can level my physique up, I can level my health up, and I can take charge of my exercise and my food, and I'm in a privileged position where I can do that.
100%.
This is a good problem.
Available.
We've got all the tools, and this is a good problem for me to solve. This is a good challenge for myself. And then just flicking more into like that taking command role, where I'm going to take command on my own journey, and I'm starting, this is my starting point. I'm going to maybe take some progress photos to mark where I'm at right now. I know I'm doing body fat pinches because I like knowing where the body fat is as well, but I like that you didn't.
I didn't.
I like that you weren't doing that. I like that we did weigh-in. No DEXA scans. We did weigh-ins and we did photos.
And I was against those weigh-ins as well. And I don't know if you remember how many times we argued about this, because you said to me, enter it in your, you know, sheet, and I was like, it doesn't matter. Like, you can just weigh in wherever you want, and you're like, no, we need data. We need the correct information so that we can see if we're trending in the right direction. And that actually, I have to apologize to you, because that is the truth, the way, the light, because so many times I would do that, right? I would weigh in on a Wednesday and be like, yeah, we're sweet, and I'd weigh in on a Sunday and go, what the hell? Like, I thought we were on the right track, but then I drank too much water the day before, or whatever it could have been. We are counteracting those little glitches by having more data.
But at the end of the day, we needed some metric to tell us whether we were trending in the right direction. And we didn't want to just rely on like photos every 3 months or how the clothes fit, because it can be a bit inaccurate, or even worse, I think the biggest mistake is how we feel. Right, like, you know, like, oh, I feel like I'm on the right track. I feel like I'm losing weight.
The feeling is never correct.
Right.
The days that you feel like an absolute fat fuck. No?
Yeah, no, you can swear. You can swear on this show.
But the days that I thought I've absolutely butchered this, I was scared to get on the scale. Those days I actually weighed in less than ever. So the feeling is absolute bull dust. It means nothing. It's a fugazi. It's a fugazi.
Our mind can play tricks on us when it comes to fat loss. So having some hard data helps. We don't have to go the Coach Jack route, which is calorie counting, counting macros, micros, but having something to know that we're on track.
And I think different things work for different people.
For sure. We'll leave that to Coach Jack.
That's fine. And Coach Jack, you do your boo-boo.
We're just out here doing it mindfully. Mindful
exactly.
athletes. Your physique results speak for themselves. Your before progress photos and your after, without a doubt, great job with the physique transformation. But what I've gotten even more excited about than the physique is the health benefits that you've reported, right? Like how you feel, and other things that you're detecting that has leveled up your health. Tell me a bit more about what you've found. You've already mentioned like waking up in the morning feeling charged up. What other things have you found from like the under the bonnet health benefits?
Brain fog, completely gone. I always felt like I was trying to think of what I was saying, and now everything comes to me so easily. I remember everything clearly, clear as day. I crave movement now, so it's and that's why the feeling is important in that sense, because what you're feeling, you want to keep feeling, right? And that's what's going to keep you on that trajectory upwards. For me, a day that I didn't walk, I really didn't feel great about that. So it got to the point where I was like, oh, you know what? Not only was it a movement that my body craved, it was something that I mentally craved, because it was something I was doing for myself. It was something I was doing for my health. It was an investment into me. So it became obviously something I really wanted. What was the question again?
The question was like, what other things did you detect with your health? But what I'm getting from that one is Parissa's baseline shifted. You went from like an okay level of feeling and an okay level of health and fitness
I didn't feel awful, right?
You weren't feeling awful, but you felt and you set your baseline at what like excellent feels like. And then if you didn't get that walk, or if you didn't eat clean, then you would feel like less energy. It didn't feel right.
Completely.
Which is one of my favorite things about what I do as an exercise physiologist is once you level up and once you feel what like optimal, like a new optimal function, you don't want to go back to being sedentary.
It's like you don't want to go back class, you don't want to go back to economy. You just can't, because you're already in business and you're like, I don't want to sit back there. I've already done that and it wasn't as good. So I guess same thing here. You do reach a level where there are certain things that you go, oh, it's so much better here. I don't want to have to regress back to where I was, because I like it here way more. And then I think what happens is it dominoes into a million other things in your life. So you go, oh, you know what? Maybe I do need to sit in the sun for 10 minutes and get some vitamin D. Maybe I do need to ground myself on the grass or whatever, which might sound cooked to some people. That's okay. I was once that person. But then over time you go, oh, maybe I do need the pasteurized eggs, and maybe I do need the whole milk that has that creamy bit on the top, and I don't need to have like, you know, the processed almond and the oat, and all of a sudden you end up going bam, 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 and before you know it, every little microscopic change leads to a big, you know, compounding effort where you just go, damn, I feel so amazing thanks to all these tiny little things which were not huge on their own, but they added up and became huge in their result.
I love that. Like 1% changes that all compounded and added up. Like eating better, moving more.
And the mentality, how that mentality shift will impact every other part of your life. You know, so being able to manage stress better, or going, oh, okay, you know what? I'm already suffering a little bit with my movement and my eating a little bit. So if I suffer a little bit in this, you know, psychological thing that I'm dealing with, that's also okay. We're okay. We're comfortable with suffering. A little bit of suffering never hurt nobody.
Yeah, I like when we switched on like the Project Fat Loss. We were like, this is just what we do now. Like this is our new journey. This is
us.
Like in the past, we weren't targeting fat loss. We weren't targeting the shred, so we were a bit more comfy. Now, on purpose, we're going to look for a bit more discomfort with this and this and this. But this is just what we do.
And
I think that that made a big difference mentally as well. Hey Parissa, for our audience listening, if they're thinking about starting a fat loss journey, what can they expect? What is this?
The good, the bad, the ugly.
Like what's this journey like? Because not many people talk about this. People just talk about like, hey, you can do it too, and you can start. But what's the real? What's
for me, you anticipate the you know, your clothes are going to feel different, and you're gonna look different, and there's all these things that you think about, right? But there's some things that you just do not think about, and for me, one of those was the unsolicited advice and feedback I got from so many people, and it came at a hard time for me because I was adjusting to changes on myself. So when I'm already adjusting to changes on myself and then I get the feedback, and a lot of the times it can be negative feedback. Oh, you didn't need to lose weight. You shouldn't have even done that. Oh, you used to be curvy. Your face has aged so much. You know, oh, this or that. You're going to lose your this and you're not going to have that. And obviously you can't select where fat comes from. So there are fat cells on your face that are going to melt away. There are certain things that are going to happen, and you're seeing those changes in the mirror. But then when somebody, you know, brings it up with you, it can be a little bit sort of hurtful. So I think grabbing that and still continuing on, that was the hardest thing for me.
Yeah. What helped you manage that? Because it's not an easy, I've been on the receiving end of that as well. I've done a shred in the past where friends and family come to me and go, did you want to do that? Like you looked like manly in a machine before, but now you look a little boyish, or like, where's all that, you know, big dog sweat gone?
I think,
what helped you manage that?
I think I just probably had to stand 10 toes down with a lot of people and go, yes, I did intend to do this. Yes, I did want to do this. Yes, I'm happy with the changes, and sort of just, you know, offer that reassurance, because I think a lot of people were just like, oh, but did you mean to? Are you sure that's what you wanted? And that can really, you know, stuff your psyche up a bit, because you're thinking, are they seeing something I'm not seeing? Do I look terrible and I'm not seeing it on myself or whatever? And just kind of being, you know, cementing your stance on it and going, yes, I am. I'm walking, I'm doing this, I am doing this, this and this, because I want to achieve A, B, and C, and this is the way I'm doing it.
There's a couple of things that I found from my journey is, one thing is, a lot of the time it can be a reflection of the work that person is refusing and avoiding. So it's, you know, maybe they feel a bit insecure, or maybe they feel a bit weak or or ugly or fat, and they, you know, they're putting off starting gym, or they're putting off eating right. And then when they see someone else getting after it, they go, it causes them to react along those, you know, with those comments. The other thing that I observed is, I would always go back to, well, is this person that's commenting negatively about this, does this person have it all figured out when it comes to their food? Are they eating the way I want to eat? Are they moving the way I want to move? Are they training in the gym? Are they getting after it? Are they in top physique? Are they in top shape? And 10 times out of 10, they weren't. It was like unsolicited advice from men and women that aren't living it. The men and women that aren't, you know, leveling up and working on their health.
They're the most comfortable talking about it, right?
It's the ones that are carrying, you know, too much fat, and the ones that are weak, and the ones that are, you know, like not in shape, that are chatting about it. So I guess my tip would be, just look at whether you want to be like them. You know, would you actually want to take advice from them? And if that's somebody that you don't want to be drawing inspiration from or drawing advice from, then it is irrelevant. You know, would you take finance advice from somebody that's broke? General statement, but most of the time probably not.
You know? And I think unless you are on some sort of training journey and you have done it for a while, it's hard to understand this as an outsider, why you would bulk with a bit of muscle, or why you would shred some fat. It's hard to understand those things, or why you would care about your weight, what you're squatting and what you're deadlifting and whatever. Those things might seem so silly to somebody on the outside, but when you're in that sort of bubble of training, they are really relevant. So,
As a person that's leveled up your physique and you've leveled up your health and how you're feeling, where to from here? Like, what is your plan for the next 1, 2, 3 months, and where do you see yourself going with your training and your fitness and your health, you know, for the rest of 2025, and like, what's 26 gonna bring? Do you know what I mean?
So I think, well, I'm going on holiday for a month, so
Eurosummer.
There's absolutely no thought about diet or anything like that, and maybe some training, maybe. Hold up.
Walking. I know you're about to fly out next week.
Sunday,
So tell me, like, cause that's a problem in itself, right? For people listening, they're like, yo, how do I manage this on? I don't want to lose all my. So what's your plan going into Eurosummer?
I'll still prioritize movement in the sense that I'll be walking a lot, but in terms of, will I be having a dessert? Yes, I definitely will be, and the reason for that is because so much of life's enjoyment can be tied up to food, right? Having that pizza by the ocean in Italy, I don't want to deprive myself of that.
Never deprive
like, that's
pizza.
Just wrong, right? Yeah. Things like that are still a priority to me. Enjoying life still a really big priority for me. I do think that I will probably shift it back into a different gear when I get back, because I'll have to. Not that I'll have to, but I'll want to. I will be craving things. I'll be craving the routine, the strength training. I'll be craving the clean eating. So I'm excited to sort of have this 4 to 5 weeks of not being so vigilant. I'll still be aware. I won't be stressed about it or anything. But when I get back, I'll be basically back to where I was in January.
Tell me about your goals in terms of like, are there any things that you haven't yet unlocked with physique or with health goals?
Completely, yeah.
Tell me more. Like, after you enjoy your trip and come back, like, what are the goals that you want to lock in on for the rest of the year and maybe even in the new year?
Yeah. So again, it's fat loss in certain areas, because the fat loss, you can't be selective, right? So it did come off some places and it stayed and it really stuck on some other places. So annoying. But that's something that I want to obviously fix when I get back. So there's certain things that I'll need to maybe even take it up a notch above the notch that I was already on. That's a conversation we're going to have after Euro Summer.
I like that. So even more like unlocking some new levels on shredding and fat loss.
Yeah, and what does that take? I'm not aware yet.
What about in terms of that your I'm well aware. I know. Don't worry. What about in terms of like how you want your body to perform and how you want your body to feel?
More strength, more energy. If you get some, nice ab definition in there, amazing.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, I just want to thank you for coming on the show.
No worries.
Thanks for being here today.
I feel overconfident for someone so underqualified to be speaking on this.
I think people that have spent time under the barbell and people that have spent time on the gym floor and working on themselves, they're the ones that are qualified.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay,
like
there's some qualifications. There's
some fat PTs getting around town. I see them around town, but you're a person that walks the walk. You don't just talk the talk. Thanks again for being here today. Guys, if you've made it this deep into the video, you're a real one. And YouTube's going to suggest the video for you to watch after. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. We're dropping these fire videos every week. Yeah.